Let's move on, though, now to the Kansas City Chiefs, the division, conference, and Super Bowl champions. Congratulations once again. And let's go into their 7-round mock draft and continue our series where we do a mock draft, 7-round mock draft for every single team. But before we get into that, Ryan and I, we have a goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers by the It's just about a month and a half away. We're sitting, last we checked, at 617 subscribers. We've already gained about 300 subscribers this year so far, so we need just another 300 and change to get to our goal, which would be greatly appreciated. So not already, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and also leave a comment and let us know what you think of our mock draft. And Ryan, let's get into it. It's amazing. So for the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, normally those teams have very few picks because they've sold some to try and get some guys. They have so many freaking picks. A lot of them are late. A lot of them are late in the end of 6th and 7th
picks.
rounds.
Well, we also have them trading back.
And they just gained 1 pick with that. So, yeah. But I think that's a good place to start. They're picking at 32, or 31. And quick disclaimer: the software we use, they counted forfeited picks. So if they're off by 1 or 2, that is why. So, as I say, they picked at 32. So, Brian, what was the trade back that the Chiefs did?
We had them trading back with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals received round 1, pick 32, and the Kansas City Chiefs received round 2, pick 35, and round 5, pick 170. So, I think that's a good trade back. I liked it a lot for the Cardinals. I think they got to move up and draft a good player for minimal risk, and the Chiefs really only have to drop back a few spots. And so with that pick, we have them taking BJ Ojulari, the edge rusher from LSU, and I really, really liked this pick when we made it. However, I think now this is where I would have the tackle from Tennessee, Darnell Wright, come off the board. He's a true right tackle. Andrew Wiley left and Orlando Brown left. So now they're going to have to replace both tackles. They signed Jawan Taylor from Jacksonville, and
that's a good signing.
It is a good signing, but they're going to flip him from right to left tackle, and then they still have that empty spot at right tackle. And I think Darnell Wright is the man for the job. He was phenomenal at Tennessee. We had him going a couple picks later to the Patriots, but I think this is where he would end up going if we were to go back and do this again.
I agree 100%. I was going to say something very similar, not as eloquently as you. And another reason too, also, and this kind of segues then into our next pick, is we actually then also go edge with them again with Isaiah Foskey, another player who I like. However, though, going back-to-back edge, and they are different types of players. Yeah. But I think going Darnell Wright here at tackle, immediate need and problem address and fix a guy that you can put there. He's going to have to develop a little bit, but still really good offensive tackle. And then still go get Isaiah Foskey at 64. I really like that because they are losing Carlos Dunlap and then also Kalen Sanders as well. So a little bit of help that needs to be.
And they cut Frank Clark.
No, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So that was our original reason for picking BJ Ojulari. He was a really good edge rusher. We thought Orlando Brown was going to be staying with the Chiefs, and then they signed Jawan Taylor to play on the right side. That was our original thought process. However, since both tackles have left, we since would switch this around. And I let's talk about both of these prospects here for a second. BJ Ojulari, great bend on the edge, really solid pass rusher, played in the SEC. I like him a lot as a prospect. And Isaiah Foskey is one of my favorite 3-down edge rushing prospects in this class. And I think he brings a lot to the table. He doesn't have that elite bend that you want in an edge rusher, but he has solid power. He has multiple pass rushing moves in his arsenal. I like him a lot as a prospect, and to get him at 64, I think is a good pick.
Well, and another thing too, and we have not mentioned just yet, but then they also have signed Charles Omenihu from San Francisco as
Omenihu.
I was close.
Yeah.
So sorry if you're new to the channel.
Continues,
yeah, if you're new to the channel, that is just something that comes with subscribing, as I can't pronounce names. So they signed him as well from San Francisco, which leads me more to like that Darnell Wright pick.
Yeah,
even more. And then I still like getting Isaiah Foskey because then you can still then add depth, especially if Carlos Dunlap back. And so, and also just to good player. He's just a good player. So. But let's move on, though, now to the 96th pick, their third-round pick. Here, they lost Juju Smith-Schuster. It also looks like Mecole Hardman, and then also, I want to say, Justin Watson, right? I always get his name.
I think is MVS gone too?
No, MVS signed a multi-year deal, so he is still on here, unless if my highlighter is incorrect. But I don't have him highlighted.
MVS went to the Jets, but I think that was a meme and a joke and not truth. But I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a joke. I don't believe that he is on the free agent market right here. So this is where, though, however, we do have them taking receiver, replenishing some of that lost receiver talent with Marvin Mims, receiver out of Oklahoma. I like this guy. Ryan, what are some – you're more the receiver guru. What are some of the things that you like about Marvin Mims?
So he has good hands, and his vertical ability is very nice. He was definitely the deep threat guy at Oklahoma. And one of the things I also liked about him a lot, he showed up in big games. He had 2 amazing games in the Red River Showdown against Texas, making incredible catches in both games. And his route tree is pretty limited. However, if there's anybody that I trust to develop a wide receiver and help him run better routes, Andy Reid is probably that guy. So I like this pick a lot. He has a suddenness to his game that I really like, and he has a knack for getting behind DBs. All things that I think Patrick Mahomes would love to have. And I think you couple that with Travis Kelce over the middle, and then Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's not quite he's a receiver 2 or 3 in an offense. I think you couple that with those guys, I think he'll be able to carve out a role in week 1. And yeah, they'll be pretty solid going forward. So next up, pick 123, Quindell Johnson, the safety from Memphis. A bigger safety. They are most likely, I think, going to lose Juan Thornhill, their safety in free agency. And I think this is a replacement for that. He's a good safety. He's going to need some rounding out to be able to replace Juan Thornhill, but he plays well in the box. He's pretty physical, and I like him. I like him as a prospect a lot. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. He seems like a Kansas City type of guy, especially as, like what you said, like very physical. And so I think that's the kind of mantra that they, at least from my perception, that they want to have is that Tyrann Mathieu-esque type physicality type. So moving on though now with pick 135, Wanya Morris, offensive tackle. Wanya?
Yeah, Wanya Morris.
Sure. Okay. Wanya World. Okay. Offensive tackle from Oklahoma. Once again, now with the Darnell Wright pick going earlier, I don't mind double dipping with the offensive tackle and offensive line, especially since you lost your 2 tackles as well. Yeah. So, did they lose Andrew Wiley for sure? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, he signed with the Washington Commanders.
Okay. Yeah. So even then, double dipping, trying to find some value, trying to find some guys that can compete for day 1 starting jobs.
No, yeah. And for me, I like Wanya Morris a lot. He has the length and the athleticism to play on the outside. One of the things with drafting an Oklahoma tackle, and you'll kind of see this with Anton Harrison, who went, I think, early 2nd round, is they're going to be a little bit taller, a little bit leaner, struggle a little bit more with power, and they're not going to have nearly as many run blocking reps as they do pass blocking reps. And so there's some questions there. He might need some development. That's why he's here at the end of the 4th round. However, I think he's a true right tackle. You could almost plug and play him if somebody goes down, but I like him a lot as a developmental prospect because he has the length and the experience on the outside. So I like him a lot. Next up, the Chiefs have a lot of picks coming up, and they're 6th and 7th round picks. So we're going to rapid fire through them. Defensive back prospect I really liked from, I want to say the Shrine Bowl, but Starling Thomas, the 5th, the cornerback from UAB, had a good Shrine Bowl. And he's just, I think, a good developmental prospect, I think, to get at pick 168. 170, Juice Scruggs is a really physical interior offensive lineman that played center for Penn State. And then at 199, the Tom Brady pick, actually another really good value pick. Chase Brown, the running back from Illinois, didn't have the best Senior Bowl, but I think he's a really good prospect. He's a consistent prospect.
Well, and I think that Isaiah Pacheco can turn into what Jerick McKinnon was. And I think Chase Brown can come in and just be, as what you said, that consistent guy, that consistent running back that can come in. He can make the right blocks. He can hit the holes. He can make the right reads. And Isaiah Pacheco, I think, is going to fill in that Jerick McKinnon role that we have seen.
Also, one of the things that I want to comment on about Chase Brown, him and his brother Sidney Brown apparently are going to be great culture fits in the NFL for guys who want to instill that hardworking culture. And Andy Reid, I think, is going to love this kid on his offense. So yeah. And then next up, it is another wide receiver, Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver from Mississippi. A little bit of a larger wide receiver. However, I think he has the fluidity to play in the slot and kind of replace that Juju Smith-Schuster role. I don't think he'll be the 75 catch, 900-yard receiver. Obviously, getting him in the 7th round, if you get that, that's a home run. So, I really like him. I like him at this point in the draft. I think worst comes to worst, you have a guy who's going to cover punts for you. So, yeah.
So moving on though now to pick 227, getting Cameron Latu, tight end out of Alabama. Similar as well, Travis Kelce is getting a little bit older, so maybe if you can find a diamond in the rough, a guy that you can develop. He is versatile, coming from an Alabama offense that likes to throw, and he had to be able to catch ball out of the backfield as well, and he can also provide some blocking capabilities also. So a guy that Andy Reid likes, very versatile. Yeah. Moving on now to 251, and this is a pick. Actually, the more I thought about it, the more I like this pick. But Jaron Hall, QB out of BYU. I like taking these 7th round, or I like the idea of taking these 7th round QBs because it's kind of like a little investment. It's costing you nothing. But we saw this like with the Patriots and Jarrett Stidham. And if you're able to then develop this guy into a competent backup or maybe even potentially a starter for a team who's like looking just for a stopgap guy, maybe you can take this 7th round pick and then maybe invest it, and then you can trade him later on for maybe a 4th, 5th round pick. Probably not like likely to happen, but still, I think it could be some value as well for taking these younger guys and developing him, especially as Chad Henne gets older. You're going to need a guy also to be your backup. Oh, did he officially retire?
Yeah, I thought he announced his retirement after the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed that. Well, so then now you're looking for a backup quarterback.
Yeah. So. That to me that's where I thought you were going with that. I like this pick. It's just a late round flyer on a potential backup quarterback. So and I think Jaron Hall has pretty good athletic upside as well. So and then last but not least, to close it out, linebacker Shaka Hayward from Duke. I mean, just adding linebacker depth. It's one of the few positions that they hadn't addressed yet. And Nick Bolton had a hell of a season, as well as who's the other one?
Willie Gay Jr.
Willie Gay Jr. Those two guys are solidified in that position. I think you're just adding Shaka Hayward for depth, special team contributions, and whatnot. So all in all, I think this is a great draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I would switch that BJ Ojulari pick for Darnell Wright, who was on the board at this point in our draft. Also, Anton Harrison. However, Anton Harrison played left tackle mostly in college, whereas Darnell Wright played right tackle.
Yeah.
So I think Darnell Wright might be a little bit more plug and play, but all in all, I think this is a phenomenal draft for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I fully expect them to be back at the top of the division again. So
yeah. Well, and especially too, is everyone went into last season doubting them, and they proved everybody wrong as always. And now like winning 3 Super. No. Yeah, is it 3 Super Bowls in 5 years or going to 3 Super Bowls?
They went to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. They lost to
winning. Yeah. So they're in a dynasty now. There's no denying that. And anyone who comes in saying that like they're not one of the Super Bowl favorites every single year, I think it's just trying to make a video.
As long as Patrick Mahomes is back there, they're going to be contenders. It's going to be like the Patriots when Tom Brady was when the 11s through like the 17, 18s, where it was just like, okay, he's throwing to a 6th round pick, wide receiver, and a 5th round pick tight end. And it just doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, because he can fit the ball in a window this big.
Well, and they're going to have the same situation this year as they did last year coming in. They're going to have to sign a veteran receiver who has some talent as well, but it can fit well within their system, draft some young guys and bring them in. And people are going to be looking at the Chargers and the moves that they make, and the Broncos and the moves that they make. Oh, Sean Payton is head coach. Offseason, they look really good. And the season's going to come, and it's going to be the same thing. Like Andy Reid as the head coach.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. That's all they need. Like that. Yeah. Like they are that freaking good.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fun to watch them. I like this draft for them. And again, I would switch up that 35 pick, but we kind of have to leave it or else we would rearrange our whole board. So
Yeah.
With that being said, let's go ahead. Let's close out the Chiefs. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can get notified every time Tyler and I post new content. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the NFL draft. So if you could help us reach that goal, that would be much appreciated. And other than that, we will see you guys next